Hello everyone, I'm Badley Jonathan and this is the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television live from my headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital. Dwelling in our top stories tonight, he is determined to continue using the military for the protection of Cameroon's territorial integrity and to ensure the safety of persons and properties in the crisis-hit northwest and southwest regions of the country. He is determined to put an end to that crisis that has been pulling on for close to 3 years. Today, he is the President of the Republic of Cameroon, Paul Biya, who was speaking today at the military brigade headquarters in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, during the ceremony of the graduation ceremony of the 36th batch of the military school, Emia. Also in this edition of the news, we shall show you the difficult conditions in which students and pupils are studying in Jimun, a locality in the known division of the West region of the Republic of Cameroon. The President of the Republic of Cameroon, Paul Biya, has once again called on pro-independence fighters in the Anglophone northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon to drop their guns, come out of the bushes and return to the normal life trend. He spoke today at the military brigade headquarters in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, during the graduation ceremony of the 36th batch of the military school, Emia, and he spoke his determination to bring to an end the socio-political and security crisis in those parts of the country, also urging the 174 soldiers to be exemplary men and women of law and order. Details in this report. The President of the Republic of Cameroon, Paul Biya, reiterates his determination to put an end to the socio-political and security crisis hitting the English-speaking northwest and southwest regions. In his speech at the graduation ceremony of the Unity and Diversity Batch of the Combined Services Military Academy, EMIA, at the military brigade headquarters in Yaoundé, President Paul Biya said the entire nation is concerned with the sufferings of the people of the northwest and southwest regions. He re-emphasized on his call for separatist fighters to drop their guns, come out of the bush and return to the normal life trend. He added that the military will continue exercising its duties of protecting Cameroon's territorial integrity and ensuring the security and safety of persons and properties. The head of state called on the 174 officers of the 36th batch of Emir to continue working to protect the country's unity and territorial integrity while being exemplary men and women of law and order wherever they are called to serve. He personally placed on the shoulders of the best graduating officer, Mbom Edingele, epaulets, raising him to a higher rank. The second, Guy Landry, received his epaulets from the minister delegate at the presidency in charge of defense, Joseph Betia Somo. And the security crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon has continued deepening since it quickly switched from peaceful protests by teachers and lawyers into an armed conflict. In the report coming up next, we take you down memory lane into some remarkable happenings in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. The report is compiled by a southwest correspondent, Derek Jato.
We don't know the main reason why they are coming back, the security forces. Every vehicle is coming back. Right now, we don't know why that immediate turnaround. The security forces are coming back.
This is how Southern Cameroon woke up Tuesday, January 17, 2017. Some political observers even hold that the political sun took its rise that day from this small town called Equinoxe in Moyoka subdivision of the southwest region.
It has not been friendly here. We are heading towards the main Equinoxe town, and we are equally going to see what the security forces are doing. Everybody has gone into this home, and now you can see the roads all colonized by stones.
Others say it was a complete turning point. marking the end of the peaceful and consortium phase of the Anglophone crisis and the beginning of what is today known as an armed conflict. It was on this day 2 years ago that internet was shut down in the two Anglophone regions. The consortium banned and the Anglophone leaders heading the consortium arrested. Barrister Agbobala Felix was at the forefront.
17 January 2017 was the day that I would never forget, you know.
A day, he said, change everything.
Then at about a few minutes after 5, I got a call from the publisher of the Guardian Post, Chris Senga, and was asking my opinion. A few minutes after, Mimi Mefu of Equinoxe also called me to let me have my opinion on the banning of the consortium. That was the last interview I granted. Someone from the US Embassy called me to inform me that I'll be arrested and that the internet will be cut off. Radio France also called me for an interview, and I told them that I was in a small meeting. They should call me in 5 minutes. You know, whilst Fontaine was coming in, the guys, the commissioner of police, I think Moriko and a couple of people came and told us that they had sent them to arrest us. And that was the worst part of the journey. We were caught from behind, from Douala to Yaoundé. When we got to Yaoundé around almost midnight, we were blindfolded. I was sent to the principal prison in Koding.
He will be given back his freedom after 8 months. And today, Barrister Agbobala Felix gave reasons why he is going about his activities more this time as the child of the revolution.
The struggle definitely has to continue, but we can strategize in a way that it would not be costly in terms of human lives, in terms of property. My regular day, I would come to the office, the Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa and the law firm. I would have a meeting with the staff members who are doing a wonderful job. I would probably, if I have a class to teach in the university, I would go there and teach. I have advocacy to do. At times people call you from jail, you would have to visit them, because I see myself as a child of the revolution, you know, and I always feel that I owe them a duty of care to always say thank you for the massive support.
He says he is restless.
You cannot sleep when you have about 600 and 700 of your people in jail. You cannot sleep when you have about 50,000 in refugees. You cannot sleep when you have about 600,000 people internally displaced. How can you sleep when you have about 160 villages burned? How can you sleep when kids don't go to school? So these are things that they are my preoccupation.
And there have been a lot of broken relationships. It is hope that this visually impaired man finally reunited with his only son Alain, that left for work and was reportedly missing that January 17, 2017 in Ekona town.
Thanks, Derek Jato, for that report. And the government of the Republic of Cameroon has continued emphasizing that the form of the state is non-negotiable. In other words, it is a taboo to be put on the discussion table, and the government maintains that decentralization or the decentralized form of the state is the form of the state that should be maintained. And of course, the President of the Republic has been announcing the implementation of effective decentralization on the ground as a way to solve the problems that provoked the current security and socio-political crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. And the Ministry of Decentralization is at work ensuring that the President's announcements should become a reality across the country, especially in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. And speaking in Yaoundé recently, the Minister of Decentralization also said that his ministry is working towards the implementation of regional councils in the country, announced by the President of the Republic recently. This in this report. Is after Cameroon's head of state Paul Biya urged governments to prepare for upcoming regional, legislative and municipal elections, the Ministry of Decentralization is already at work. Decentralization Minister Georges Elanga Obam says he and his collaborators are working towards the putting in place of regional councils.
The President of the Republic is constant in saying that this year we are going to have local councils, our regional councils put in place. So we are making sure that everything that is necessary for that is put in place, and mainly what concerns the National Assembly.
Minister Georges Elanga Obam said the decentralization ministry will go an extra mile to ensure that effective decentralization announced by President Paul Biya is fully implemented across the national territory.
We have to enlarge the competencies of the local communities to make sure that local development is a reality. We intend, if possible, to organize a very important meeting where we are going to resemble all the local communities, all our people who are involved in decentralization, to talk about it and to improve it.
He was speaking to the media shortly after receiving New Year wishes from his collaborators for the first time since the Ministry of Decentralization and Local Development was created March 2, 2018. And I told you in the headlines that we're going to show you in this newscast the deplorable and precarious conditions in which students and pupils are studying in Jimum. It is a locality in the Nun division of the West region of the country where the students are studying in very difficult conditions, as well as the pupils, due to the lack of some basic academic amenities, notably classrooms that are dilapidated, as well as the lack of teachers and other problems plaguing schools in that municipality. And it depicts the picture of many schools in the hinterlands in many parts of Cameroon. Immaculate Fogwe reports.
Pupils and students acquiring knowledge in precarious conditions in old and dilapidated buildings, completely void of comfort. Some of the buildings in Government Primary School Jimom and the Lone Technical College of that part of the Nun Division in the West region of Cameroon are either partially or completely destroyed. The mayor of Jimom, Jifen Adamo, decries the deplorable conditions in which students are living in his municipality. Look at these young Cameroonians seated on the floor. A school like this one has just one teacher who was recruited by the government, who is currently the director. We have well-trained teachers in our area who are ready to work, but a low wage rate of 15,000 francs offered to them as monthly salary makes them feel reluctant. Another problem facing the school is the extremely limited number of classrooms and teachers. As a result, the few classrooms are often full beyond capacity, and this further complicates the work of the few teachers in the school. Another problem plaguing the schools is the extremely limited number of classrooms and teachers. As a result, the few classrooms are often full beyond capacity, and this further complicates the work of the few teachers in the schools. I am the only staff working here who was recruited by the government for over 2 years. The classrooms we are teaching in was constructed by parents and people of goodwill in the diaspora. The government has never helped us in any way. A parent explains that the state of these classrooms comes along with health risk to the kids studying there. He says children are supposed to be studying in a conducive environment and not be compressed as the case is. Jimom Council authorities are now stepping up efforts to build new classrooms in the school while urging the government to recruit new teachers in a bid to enhance teaching and learning process in the municipality. And
to avoid another train accident and robbery cases on locomotives. Some inhabitants of some parts of the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, are clearing off the thick bushes along some railway lines, and they have been doing that and earning some money that enables them to put food on their tables. Details in this report by Equinoxe.
In Quartier Dakar, not far from the Mvolier train station in Yaoundé 3 subdivision, these compatriots are busy clearing the wide bushes that covers the railway.
Pas du cantonnage, qui se fait régulièrement 2 fois par an.
The clearing is done twice a year. They clear at least 8 meters on either side for the railway to be well opened, such that the visibility of the train driver is not hampered. Community officials equip them with boots, gloves, cutlasses and other tools to work.
Donc c'est avec ce comité que je fais les travaux.
They are being headed by His Majesty Joseph Atemenge, 3rd class chief of Dakar 2.
Comme vous le voyez.
Similar activity is ongoing in the Akak village, not far from the Olembe Stadium in Swa subdivision, in the Mefu and Afamba division. Here, the inhabitants organize themselves as well around their chief to open up the railway for similar purposes.
Tout ce qui peut nuire et tout ce qui peut salir le chemin de fer.
They are here to get rid of the bushes that obstruct visibility and any object of the rail that can cause disaster. The activity also permits to limit insecurity, knowing fully well that in Yaoundé, most railways pass through several dangerous quarters.
Ce travail permet également que les bandits qui viennent pour déranger puissent quand même fuir.
Inhabitants indicated that their wish to cater for the railway stems from patriotism.
Pour servir son pays, c'est ma première motivation.
Others say the little token chipped into their pockets for the job can enable them feed the family, pay the child's school fees, and assist orphans.
Donc, ce qui sort de là, ce que Cameroun me donne, je m'en vais aussi faire cadeau à l'orphelinat.
Je suis un responsable de famille. J'ai une femme et j'ai des enfants.
Akak and Dakar, made up of 163 villages, are crisscrossed by railways. Where a road passes, they say development follows. And the railway being a form of road, most of the villagers in Akak and Dakar now have benefited different social services and amenities like boreholes, equipped health facilities, and more. Reason why many believe these workers are motivated more, such that they can satisfy their wants and the needs of others around them.
Cameroon's Minister of Urban Development and Housing has urged some inhabitants of Yaoundé to help local councils in their efforts to fight or curb urban disorder in the nation's political capital. Celestine Kecha-Kutes was speaking during an unannounced visit to some parts of Yaoundé. Manjikan Gebre reports.
It was her first outing in the country's political capital, and the Minister of Housing and Urban Development met with the unending traffic congestion that characterizes Yaoundé. From Avenue Kennedy, precisely at Monte Orlando, in the Central Market, to Ngusu Roundabout, Etudi, Eligejua, and at Elige Farm, it was the same picture, as even to circulate within Yaoundé at rush hour period is practically difficult. Celestine Kecha-Kutes explains. To effectively work, one ought to go down to the field, but also mobilize the population, since they can't fold their hands for everything to be done. In all of the neighborhoods we passed through, we saw that the population is ready to help the mayor.
Jeunes, des femmes, des chefs de quartier à accompagner les maires à faire leur travail.
The same cause produces the same effect as roadsides have been occupied by business operators. The anarchical extension of stores and absence of traffic lights at certain roundabouts are all some of the causes of the traffic congestion. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development is on course to see the reality on the ground.
C'est ensemble.
It is looking at the situation that together we shall look for solutions and get into these durable development projects that are close to the heart of the president, and also work for free movements in Yaoundé.
Un point très important de l'atteinte des ODD.
It is not a new story that Yaoundé is congested. After the adoption of the National Mobility Plan, it is now left for it to be materialized.
And out of the country, the African Union has said that the proclamation of the final results of the last presidential election in the Democratic Republic of Congo should be delayed. This resolution was taken in the meeting of heads of states and governments of the African Union in Ethiopia yesterday. For me, Armstrong Sander has more.
Meeting in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Thursday, January 17, 2019. The African Union agreed to urgently send a high-level delegation to Kinshasa in a bid to find a way out of the political crisis. In a statement, the Pan-African institution said heads of state and governments attending the meeting concluded that there were serious doubts on the conformity of the provisional results as proclaimed by the National Independent Electoral Commission with vote cast.
Pour parler franchement, des sérieux doutes sur la conformité des résultats proclamés persistent.
As a result, the African Union has called for a suspension of the proclamation of the final results of the December 30th, 2018 presidential election in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The provisional results of the long-awaited elections announced last week have been challenged in court by another candidate, Martin Fayulu, and observers have expressed fear of the unknown, given that the Democratic Republic of Congo has not known a peaceful transfer of power since it gained its independence from Belgium in 1960. The Electoral Commission, sitting in the Democratic Republic of Congo, last week declared opposition candidate Felix Tshisekedi winner of the December 30th polls with 38.57% against chief rival Martin Fayulu with 34.8%. Fayulu contested the results, qualifying it as an electoral coup forged in backroom dealings between Tshisekedi and outgoing President Joseph Kabila, who has been in power since 2001.
Même si jusqu'ici la situation sur le terrain.
The African Union Commission chairperson Musa Faki Muhammad reminded leaders gathered in Ethiopia that the situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo remains a cause for concern.
Hautement préoccupant.
The delegation from the African Union under the President Paul Kagame is expected in the Democratic Republic of Congo any moment from now. The vote dispute in the Democratic Republic of Congo has raised fears that the country's political crisis, which erupted 2 years ago when Joseph Kabila refused to step down at the end of his constitutional term of office, could worsen.
And that's it for the first part of this newscast. Coming up in Talking Points, we shall discuss some news-making events of the day. We will equally tell you, students, how to study and how to make a career choice and purpose. Stay with us. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us in the second segment of this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. We are receiving a motivational speaker from the southwest region of the country. Fabien WAMDI, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're from the southwest region of the country, and the Anglophone crisis compelled you to move over to the littoral region, precisely in Douala. Tell us how difficult it is today to live in the southwest region with the crisis.
The crisis has really caused a lot of problems, businesses, schools. It is really killing the future of this nation. So living there, you can die at any moment. It's not easy. I've been there. I've seen how shooting is going on. I've seen how my friends are dying. It's not easy. So I had to leave to come to where I can feel safe and I can fulfill my purpose and my mission on earth.
When you hear the President of the Republic is speaking out, expressing his determination to put an end to the crisis, are you convinced about that?
Putting an end to the crisis, as Aya Paul Abine Barrister, Justice Aya Paul Abine once said, we should sit on a round table. I think that is very important to put an end to the crisis, and also to have the viewpoints of all the youth and all the students. I think the government, in my point of view, can put up something where students can write poems, where youth can write quotes about ending the crisis. They evaluate and they can really picture out how to come to an end to the crisis.
All right, you're a motivational speaker, and you saw in that report on the studying conditions of students and pupils in Jimum, a locality in the Nun division of the west region of the country. And of course, that is the situation with many schools in the hinterlands in several parts of Cameroon. Yeah. When you look at that kind of situation, what do you think about this learning and teaching process?
Learning and teaching, we need to readjust, because the condition in which students can learn, in which students can study, have a tremendous impact on how the students or the pupils study. And the future of this nation depends on the youth. It is on the shoulders of the youth, because not long from now, we need youth that can be able to represent this nation and develop this nation. I think putting an end to the crisis and considering considering how students can study is really, really good.
Improving on the conditions, on the conditions students are studying. Yeah. And you wrote a book on how to study. Yeah. How to study. This is the second term of the 2018-2019 academic year, and students have been urged to put in their best in order to get good results. And university students are equally involved in studying. So how to study? Because if you don't study well, certainly you're not going to get the right results.
Okay. How to study? I wrote that book because I had a burden in my mind. Because I saw how so many students, they were putting in extra effort. They put in 4 hours on studies, but they produce less results than the time they put. So I came out with a book.
What could possibly explain that you study for this long and you don't get the results?
One of the main problems is you don't know how to study. You don't know how to study. You see, the brain is it has capacity than the best computer in the world. It can store information that the best computer in the world cannot store. Now, how you study automatically tells the brain this information is important, keep it. So students do not know how to tell the brain this information is important, keep it. The way you study because the brain has 3 memories: the sensory memory, the short-term memory, and the long-term memory. The brain cannot take all the information you need and put in the long-term memory. No, it will be too congested. So the brain filters the information you will need. So the way you study tells the brain this information is important, keep it.
So how should you study for the brain to be able to keep the important information in the long-term memory?
Okay. You see, the way you study, and I wrote this book. This book has 4 chapters. The first chapter talks about understanding yourself in studies. The first thing you need
to understand yourself
is to understand yourself. There are some students that learn by hearing, auditory learners. There are some that learn they are called them visual learners. They learn by seeing and writing. They are emotional learners. They are kinesthetic learners. So the way you learn tells the brain, this is important. You see an auditory learner concentrating in the classroom. It is automatically telling the brain, this information is important. A visual learner will not learn in the same way. So understanding yourself is the first thing you need in studies. Are you an auditory learner? Are you an emotional learner?
And after having understood yourself, the next step is?
Okay, the next step is factors influencing studies. When you understand yourself, there are some factors influencing studies. First of all, when you sit on your book, your essence is to transfer information from the book to your brain. And there are some factors that when you put into consideration, your mind is relaxed, your brain is relaxed. It can put in more information. The factors you can have: the study environment. Yes, it is supposed to be clean, it's supposed to be attractive, it is supposed to be motivative. You have the study time. You understand yourself. Are you best in studying at night or in the afternoon? My book describes that. You have discipline, letting go the important things to accomplish the vital ones. Knowing what you want now and what you want most. You have meditation. This is what not so many students do not do, but it is very important. You have
meditate on what you study. We unfortunately caught up by time, but before we go, one word on choosing a career.
Okay. There is something more important than just studies. Choosing the right career. You see, there are so many university students studying history, and I ask you, what can you do with a degree in history? The student cannot tell me. So choosing the right career is more important than even going to the school. I've seen so many people abandoning what they studied, and they are now going back to what they feel is good for them. When I do counseling on that, I train on talent, purpose. When a student comes to me, I diagnose you. What can you do for free for the rest of your life? For example, can you be doing this journalism for free for the rest of your life without payment? If you cannot do that, it's not what you were supposed to do.
All right. Thank you so much, Fabien WAMDI. We'll have time to get into the details of that. Thanks so much for coming. That's it, ladies and gentlemen, for today's edition of the 6 p.m. Primetime Newscast on Equinoxe Television. Goodbye.